Awesome. Thanks, Christian. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Let's just get right into it.
My name's Christian. I've been playing music since 2006, which is the year that I lost my mom. And she was the only one that was really like supportive of me doing it. So once I lost her, I kind of lost myself in it, and it literally saved my life. Like, unfortunately, I know a lot of people that have really struggled with like addiction problems and stuff like that for years in order to cope with like such a major loss for them. And for me, thankfully, my drug was music. So ever since then, I've been in and out of bands. First 5 years, I was in pop punk bands, and then I was doing, like the indie folk, indie rock, almost shoegazy kind of thing for a while. And now I rebranded as Mourning Coffee. I got some friends playing with me whenever I do like full band shows, but it's mostly just me.
What's your biggest inspiration or motivation or influence?
Man, there's a lot. I mean, the cop-out answer would probably be my mom, because when she was alive, she was very driven, and just like there was just so much life in her. And I never was that kind of person. Like, I was like the hermit that could just be locked away playing video games or just like playing with toys, or however old I was at the time, just like doing all the like kid stuff, and like bit antisocial a little bit too. But like it's almost like a switch flipped when I lost her, and I just became much more of a social person, more outgoing, and it really comes out musically. And I love to write. Writing's my therapy.
Were you always musically inclined, or?
To be honest, I am. This is a funny question, because a lot of people that you meet, especially like the bigger, more professional people that are like in the industry and stuff like that, and a lot of people I've met at music conferences and stuff, like they have music in the family, like it's in their background essentially. And for me, I'm the first one. Like, no one in my family is really musically, artistically like inclined. Everyone was kind of just like, just little hobbies here and there, but mostly kind of just like the average person,
Sure.
And I'm definitely still the average person, but music, I think it happened. It was like a perfect storm, and I just lost myself, and like I fortunately found music when I needed it.
So where'd you find it? Like, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Were you always writing, and with your mom passing, and then you found the melodies, or, this traumatic experience? Where'd you turn to, and like, how did you find the music?
So, I guess to try to make a long story short, my dad got me a guitar when I was like 14 or 15. And the only reason why I started playing is because I discovered punk rock, and it's the one genre he didn't like. So I was like, yeah, this is a way to rebel against my dad. And to back it up real quick, music was always, ever since I was a young, like I can't even remember, like maybe 3 years old, music was always my thing, because I come from an abusive household, a broken home, and the way that I coped with the abuse was losing myself in the music. And like when I was really young, I was listening to like a lot of metal too, and like bands like Korn and stuff like that would like sing about the abuse, and almost like it just resonated and hit so close to home. I was like, it was my escape, my younger brothers were like into like video games and other things like that, and that was their escape. For me, it was always music. So like once I had the ability to kind of just like pick up a guitar and just say F it, like I'm gonna learn how to do this just by watching videos of people playing and like just listening back to records 100 times. And I didn't even know about tabs until I was in my 20s, and I still haven't used a tab. I was talking to a bandmate of mine that was like to try and like transcribe some of the stuff that we have, and she showed me literally just like lyrics with like I guess chords on top, or like notes on top, and I was like, I could write the letter, but I've never done anything like that. So like all the chords that I play is just by mistake. Like I just found them by accident, or I just saw pictures of people that I really liked playing, like their fingers were in a certain way, so I tried to make the same position, and then there were sounds that were off, so I was like, maybe they're holding a different note, or so I kind of just spent hours and hours losing myself in that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I appreciate all that. I appreciate it. So Morning Coffee.
Yes.
Morning Coffee. Mourning spelled not the obvious way.
Mhm.
So speak to that a little bit, please.
So, I mentioned for several years I was in like a shoegaze kind of band. We were called the Foxfires, and coming out of the pandemic, I decided to start doing my solo stuff again, which I was doing before the band started, and it was more of like an indie folk thing. So I guess like the coffee part of the name makes sense because it's more of like a coffee shop vibe.
Totally.
But and then the Mourning part of it, much more like it speaks to the vibe, you know, like it's more like a sad coffee shop music is like how I describe it. And it just like popped into my head one day because like I put out a record in 2019 called Good Morning, but spelled Mourning. And so when I thought of Mourning Coffee as like a band name, I looked it up to make sure there was no other bands that had that name. And as soon as there was none, I was like, okay, I think I might have something here. And so I immediately jumped on it. And even though I had already put out a record last year under my name and whatnot, I decided to just do the rebrand and, you know, just move forward with the name. Something good. I'm really like my name's Christian Diana, guys. You know, I don't know. Like, I love Mac DeMarco, Alex G, Kurt Vile, and they all go by their names. But then I also love like solo artists like Seawolf and Howdy. They'll play with like bands and stuff like that, but it's really just like one or two people. And I do like the idea of having like a band name that represents the project as opposed to like, this is my name and this is me doing the music. It's kind of, maybe Mourning Coffee sounds a little better than Christian Diana, especially if you get confused as like a religious like gospel singer person sometimes. I don't know.
I like that. I like that. So are you predominantly solo, or do you have bandmates? Do you prefer one over the other?
It's funny. I think because I've been playing in a band for several years, it feels more natural to play with other people.
Sure.
And I have 4 other bandmates that I play with right now. We just did a couple shows last weekend, but it's still kind of a solo project. It's just have like a bunch of friends of mine that are always down to play. So it's kind of like we all just kind of get together. And the cool thing about doing it this way is there's a lot less pressure. So like I don't expect anything from them at all. Like obviously like I'll write my songs and put together the songs and stuff like that. But like even on their end, I'm kind of like, here's the song, and here's the key, but you could play it however you like. You know, like a lot of the bands I like, when you see them live, they don't really sound like the record, you know? So the record could be very specific, and then the live show could just be something different. And I feel like that makes it more interesting anyway.
So would they be under Mourning Coffee, or are they like the sugar and the cream to your coffee?
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Terrible.
I think that's a good thing for sure. Like the sugar and the coffee thing. I would say yes.
Okay.
For sure, because and you know it's funny. We were thinking of like doing like, because like we have the CDs and the stickers like just getting started like, and my last band we made lighters. So for this band we were thinking about doing coffee mugs.
Nice.
So Mourning coffee mugs.
Perfect.
I don't know. It makes sense.
I like it. What's up next for you?
So I think this is it for September, but next month, starting on, I think it's the first Sunday, the 2nd, we're playing Apple Fest up in Warwick. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I've heard about that, yeah.
The whole town shuts down.
Yeah.
And no one could get in and out during it. So there's just going to be hordes of people, like a couple thousand at least, just like walking by, and I just get to perform, you know, semi-acoustically with my friends. It's fun, you know, and then from there, we're playing a coffee shop, which is very appropriate. We're playing Cedar Beans in Cedar Grove on the 15th, and we're going to be splitting our bill with our guitarist's band, Crave Wave. So that's going to be fun. More of like an indie surf rocky kind of thing, and then we got like our whole like I don't know, indie lo-fi folky thing. And then, we're planning more stuff down the road. Kind of just taking it as it comes and goes. I'm much more focused on right now kind of putting together this next record, since the rebrand, the record that I had with me that I gave you guys, is actually a re-release of the record that I put out last year with a couple new tracks that weren't on that. And we do a few of the songs, so do I, acoustically, off that record. But to make it interesting, acoustically, I'll play different songs from the record, and then with the band, we'll play different songs. So when you see the band and you see me acoustically, you're getting different stuff. Otherwise, it's almost like, I guess, pick your poison. What do you like more, a solo or a full band? I'd rather them almost be entirely different, just to make it even more interesting.
Awesome. How do you promote yourself, Christian?
So, I've been told Spotify is the number one thing. I know that we all use Spotify, Apple Music, whatnot, to listen to music, so I highly encourage everyone go check out Morning Coffee on Spotify. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff, so if you want to join us on social media and interact and be friends, that's the way to do it. But if you just want to listen to music, check us out on Spotify. So I just made the Morning Coffee live wire, so follow us, please. It'll be, because I have a feeling that things are just getting started here.
Love it. Christian, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else you want the fans or people at home to know about you? Anything?
So, not so much about me, but I do find it hilarious that the guy in charge of the mics here, his name's Mike. That's amazing. Puns like that are not lost on me.
Christian, this has been awesome. Thank you for being real with us
Yeah.
and sharing everything you did. Great having you here.
Thanks for having me.